Hi, and welcome to Design It with Tammy Gibbs. I'm Tammy, and today we are going to be talking a little bit more about the AI Artist Playbook, Mastering AI Art, Clip Art, and Design, which is my new book that recently came out. I know you may be watching this at a different time in than when I'm creating it. I'm in February of 2025, but anyway. Um, the book came out February 3rd and it has been a really big hit. It's doing very well. It's already an Etsy bestseller. Thank you all for purchasing if you've already purchased. And I just want to go in and help all of you and all of the people that may be considering it just to get an idea of what you can do with the product. So, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and open up my playbook. And I should have done that before I got started, but I did not. So let me just pop in here really quick and see if I can find it really quick. Um, Sorry, I could have been a better prepared. I actually did think I must have closed it. I thought I had it opened. Here we go. All right. So let's see which one of these is the right one. Yeah, this one. There we go. So it's 416 pages. So I'm just going to open this up and already have my Artistly here. So we're going to be working within Artistly, which you know is my platform of choice. It's the one that I have my affiliate link with, and the only one that I really use to create my clip art and all of that. So anyway, I am going to do this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out one of the example prompts and we're just from the book, and then I'm just going to show you some ways that you can play with it and use some of the features of the playbook to enhance your prompt. So we're going to start with something really basic that is one of the example prompts, and let me just kind of scroll through. And you're going to see that I don't have a script. Um, Okay, so this is the example prompt that we're gonna play with. It's a vintage botanical. And, if you're using a different AI, that's okay because I didn't actually write or compile this with just Artistly in mind. So here we're in, if you're not familiar, we have gone into let's go backwards. Okay. I get ahead of myself sometimes. So you can choose your designer. We're going to work with the Fast AI designer, and then we'll go into the advanced with the same prompt and see what the difference is. They really produce different results. Okay. So I copied that and I'm just going to go back in. Normally, your prompt's not going to return like this, but this is the way it's done it. So I'm going to remove the quotes from the prompt. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to generate this image. And this already has some of the elements from the prompts. Okay, so this has produced this image. It's kind of a ink outlined, hand painted look and everything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how we can convert and use this to create various different images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first off choose four because I do have the package that allows me to do four at a time. And I'm going to show you a couple of different things. So we're using the same prompt. This is just the example prompt that you're able to use. You're welcome to use this however you want to. Okay, so I'm going to go in. Always make your designs private. Okay, but I'm going to show you how you can take And I mean, these are cute to start with, but we're gonna elaborate on it. We're going to tweak it and we're going to push the boundaries of this particular prompt. You always have to start somewhere. I think this one already, nope, I did not make that one private. Okay. So anyway, so we're making those all private. Okay, so we're gonna go in and we're now going to take and just regenerate. So we're gonna look at this prompt. So it says a vintage botanical illustration with ink outlines and hand painted watercolor textures featuring textured paper grain, soft fluid brushstroke, and subtle pigment pooling. Okay. So this is a vintage botanical illustration. We're going to take out the botanical illustration and we're going to change that and we're going to put a different subject in. So we're going to change it and put illustration of an oak tree. All right, now we're going to just do one because we're testing the prompt. So I don't usually waste my 4 and get a whole bunch of stuff going on until I know that it's going to be working well. So we're going to see. So now we have taken that prompt and now we have the possibility of an entirely different type of clip art pack. Now this doesn't look anything like this because we changed it. Now we like this, so we could actually do a whole tree pack from this. So now what I would do, and typically do, is I would do 4 just to see how it's going to look, okay? And then I'm going to show you again how we can adjust using this same prompt. Okay, so we're going to see. Okay, so basically, we're getting trees that we could use in a whole clip art pack. They're not all alike, which is great. We don't want them to all be alike when we're doing a, okay. Now, another thing that we can do is if we don't like the look that we're getting, we can adjust this further. We can tweak it again. Oh, and let's just change, well, I'll do it with the next one anyway. So we've got a vintage illustration of an oak tree. That doesn't look super vintage. So what we can do is I'm going to go in. I have certain ones that I use a lot that I have pulled um out of my playbook. And so I'm going to go down to textures and choose this aged parchment effect. And we're going to apply that and see what that does to our image. So we're also going to pull it all up on the line the way that it should be. But when you copy and paste, it often doesn't do that. So we're going to change that and see if that makes a difference as well. So you will find that with prompting, especially with Artistly, where you locate the subject, where you locate the type of art that you're working with. If you adjust those and move those around inside the prompt, it often is going to give you different results. So this is how we can expand what we can use our prompt for, and we're not constantly coming up with super different ones because we're using a base and then we're building from it. So we're going to add this at the end and see what it does. Again, one image to test it and see what it comes up with. Now, it's not always going to make a noticeable difference. Oh, lovely. So this shows you just how we transferred. And now we have gone from, let me make this private. We have gone from an image of flowers in an example prompt. These images here, we went to here, and now we have finally ended up with this, which is also very pretty and very vintage looking. You can remove this, but it's still going to be a vintage looking image, which would be awesome for a lot of different things. So then we could actually make a whole pack of these type trees, okay? So there you've got flowers you could do with the example prompt. You tweak it a bit and then you end up with these type trees. And then you can change it a little bit more, and then you've got this. Okay. So now we're going to regenerate again, and we're going to change our subject because we kind of like the way that looks and we like the antique effect. It worked well at the end, so we're going to leave it there. So a vintage illustration I have of an oak tree. Okay, we're going to change that now to um, peonies. Now we really don't have any colors selected, so we're just going to see what it comes up with its own coloring and how it works with it. Okay, so we're going to do that and see what it comes up with. And most of prompting is trial and error. Y'all see just you see a little tiny sliver of what I do, but I literally, oh, that's beautiful. Okay. So you're going to notice that this particular image is kind of a little bit cropped, which is actually fine. I would still put this in a pack if I were doing a pack like this, because when you're laying things out like for invitations, a lot of times you're going to have those cropped anyway on one end. So as long as this part is where it can be adjusted, where the leaves are what we pull, out of focus, I mean, or out of the image, then you can still use these. So I usually do include these in my packs just to give more versatility to the creator using my packs. But anyway, so let me give you a couple of hints now since we've got this image and we're kind of back to the flowers again because I brought back in the flowers. So that's the difference in the looks. Okay, but what we're going to do now is I'm going to change this and I'm going to make it bigger, a bigger image so that it has more room to kind of spread out. I'm also going to add surrounded by negative space. Now, sometimes this works. Sometimes you need to say other terms, but we're going to try it this way to see if we can get a total image inside by giving it a little bit more room as far as the aspect ratio and also instructing it to surround the image with negative space. Okay, so it basically it got the majority of our image in there. So it definitely helped. For some reason, the aspect ratio did not change on that, and it probably would have worked. I think when I clicked on something else, it went off of that. So I'm going to go back and try that again with this. Okay, now it's up there, so let's try it again and see if it works this time. All just tips to try. Everything's not going to be perfect. And what I want to really emphasize to you today as a creator is that time is money. Okay, so we did get a little bit more in our image. We still are getting we've got the stem that's cut off, but this is definitely, if you're trying to get that look, this is a little bit more um, where you're going with it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work with color because we didn't tell it what color to do. So now I'm going to go back in and go up to some of my color schemes and we're going to see how that changes it. Let's go with this sunset inspired. And I just copied the whole blame thing. Now you can just do the actual colors, but I actually do the whole thing. I'm going to put this at the end and we're just going to see what it does. But one thing I had started to say is I want to emphasize to you that time is money and that a lot of times we stress, and I did it. Oh, now see, those are pretty. Okay. Now, another thing that we can do with images like this, and I'm just kind of I'll go back and forth. I squirrel a bit, so just bear with me. But anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to move this to the front now. Or actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a phrase in the front. Let's see. Let's add water cup. Oops. Let me see if I can undo that. Okay. we're going to add and put watercolor just to see what it does. Wet on wet. I'm not changing it from where it is. I'm leaving that where it is. We're just going to play with it and see. But anyway, back to time management and all that kind of stuff. Fretting over the images is just not anything I do. If they don't turn out well, I junk them or I put them in a file for something different. Oh, that's pretty. Very unusual. And it does give us a little bit different look over what we had here. So very cool. But you can see where just changing certain things is going to change the look. Let's go now to the earthly neutrals. And then we're going to make another little adjustment. Okay. I'm going to replace this. And then I'm also going to, this has got soft fluid brush work. I'm going to go in and I'm going to look for a different type of brush style. So let's do dry on, let's see. Let's see, bold painterly strokes and see what that does to it. There are so many combinations that you can do. Now, you can do it two different ways. I'm doing it manually right now, but I'll show you in a few minutes how you can go in and you can use the magic wand. But if you really want to have more control, you'll go in and you'll select the individual items and just replace them. If you use the magic wand, it tends to change the whole prompt a little bit. So sometimes it will take you farther away from what you want your output to be like. Okay. So now you can kind of see this is a little different look. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get a little bit more of a cluster, like a different layout or grouping or whatever you want to call it. So illustration of peonies. Okay. So I have added in that I want sort of a corner element, and we'll just see. I added some other things like greenery and stuff in, so we'll just kind of see what that does and play with it. Oh yeah, so see, this has transformed our single blossoms into something very pretty. So by changing now, and you see, we started out with something super simple. Let's go back to where we started. We started with this and a very simple prompt. And then now we have we've gone from trees, we've gone all over the place, and now we have added to our prompt and kept adding until now we have layered to where we're getting something that we could use in I'm gonna go save this one because this is pretty and I may want to work with it to my new florals. Now this is really cool because now I'm gonna show you what's gonna happen. I've done a video, but since we're just here as we go along, I'll re-emphasize it for those that didn't watch that video. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to regenerate. I love this. So I would go in and generate 4. And if you notice, since I already changed that on that prompt to the new florals folder, all of the images now that I create until I change the folder will be created now inside that folder, which saves a step. This is a new feature they just added this week. So now we're going to look at this, and then we're going to go back in. I'm going to tell you how you can even go further with using the playbook and then also using the artistly um, things. Okay, so these are very pretty. We could go in now and we like the way they're looking. We like the shapes of them. They look really pretty and would be pretty for like for weddings or other types of invitations, for junk journaling, especially when you're trying to get the more vintage looks. And so, what I'm going to do with this now is I'm going to go back in and we have vintage here, okay? But we also have the aged parchment effect, and it has gotten moved down in the prompt. So we're going to take this one. Now it's still going to populate inside. I haven't changed it, so it's going to populate inside this one. Okay. We're going to put the aged parchment effect back in the front of it and see if we can get a more aged and more vintage look now, like for junk journaling. Yes. So see, now you've ended up with a much more vintagey look. Now, one thing we had changed, if you remember, is we had changed in our prompt and put the bold painterly strokes, which means that um the look is, like I said, a lot bolder. We can take this one and we can regenerate it again. Go up here to, whoops, wrong one. Okay, and then we could change it back to hazy dreamlight brush strokes and see what that does to it. So we're going back here and we're going to change it to here. Now you have to be really careful when you're prompting that you don't have something in here that cancels out one of your new additions. Like, for instance, if the beginning of the prompt I said do red geraniums, and then later on I changed in another spot and I put purple geraniums, but I still have red, then you're probably one is going to cancel out the other one. Okay, so let's try this now with the Dreamlight brush strokes and see what kind of look we get. Okay, so that shows you how that looks. Okay, whoops. Let's go back to it because I think I didn't make it private. Okay, so let's make it private. I hit the wrong button. Okay, so this actually would be a good image for doing the junk journals, so that would be pretty. So it just goes to show you just how you can literally take one prompt and you can be designing for literally days with that one prompt by just changing and adjusting and starting with that base. And so, what I'd really want to encourage you now is to be creative, to realize that if you have the playbook, you have 400 and something pages of um, phrasing, word banks, the phrase banks, all these other things for all the different aspects to get you these different looks. And you just have to open it up and start combining things to see how that some are not going to work well together. It's just like a recipe. If you put the wrong ingredient in, it's not going to be right. But when it's Artistly or any AI platform, you do one image, and if it's not what you want, then you go and change that element to something different until you find your perfect combination. So let's do that with this. We've done trees, we've done flowers. So let's just go with this one and let's apply that to now a person and see what we come up with. So this is a vintage illustration of peonies arranged in a corner element with complementary green. We want all that gone. Okay, so now we're going to change that, and it's going to be a a cute little girl. And we're going to see what that does for us. So here we've created all around these florals, these botanicals, but now we're applying all of those things to a different subject entirely to see what we're going to end up with, what sort of image. And this will be just as much of a surprise to me as it is to you because, like I said, I'm just building. That is adorable. That is such a cute image. So let's see now if we do 4 of those, what sort of range we're gonna get because they may not all look alike. We're hoping that they'll be a little similar so that maybe we could put them in a grouping together. Okay, so this is a totally different look. Okay. And that happens a lot of times, especially with this. It gives you different versions. After you generate about 2 lines, you're gonna see what's gonna be the most common from that combination. It's almost like the AI is taking that information and interpreting it in different ways. Let's make this private. See, I kind of like this one. This one's cute. Now, we're going to regenerate it again. See what we get. Now, the thing about it is that when you're generating for packs, understand you may get different images, but the way I do it is I just pick out what I like. And I may end up with 3 packs out of the generation of one session because some of them go together or can go together. Like, for instance, these can go together and are really cute. These are some really interesting designs, very cute. Lost. I clicked the wrong thing again, so let's go back in here and make it private. This one's we couldn't use the whole thing, but anyway, all of these we would need to change to make them. Actually, I'm just going to remove that one because it's taking longer to generate. Okay, so I don't get bogged down. I think all of these are really pretty. As far as consistency goes, I don't freak out if they don't generate, it doesn't generate all of the same. Like I said, once you do a couple of lines of them, you'll begin to see, uh, that they're beginning to have a similar look or whatever. Um, what we are going to do is we're going to change what look. I'm going to put of a cute little girl wearing a polka dot dress and blue ballerina or ballet slippers. Now, hopefully, what this will do is it will give us a head to toe. We're going to try one image and see what it gives us. But don't fret if you're getting in, you're trying to make one thing and you end up, okay, so here we've got this. So now we have this image. And it is sort of a vintage looking image. We've got blue ballet shoes and we have a polka dotted dress. So it did really well with that prompt. So what we're going to do is we're going to regenerate now for those. And everybody always asks for my process, which my process is messy and it may not be what you think it will be. Now, see, these are cute, and all of these could kind of go into the same little pack. But you see how it has kind of evolved? Now some of these are not as cute as I would want, but it's still got the polka dots and the shoes. So, okay. Now can we refine the little girl? We absolutely can. I could go in and if I wanted like to add it as to like more of a Scandi style, I can go in and say a cute little Scandi style girl wearing a polka dot dress and blue ballet slippers. We're going to do the one and see how it turns out. That's where you get more your shape of your face and your different things is when you start using those clip art styles. So see, this is a little bit more refined. Let me show you something else as well. Now, if you really are wanting to emphasize something in particular, you can, like for instance, we can take this vintage illustration out and see what we get. Now, we can still have the slightly yellowed look and all that, but without the vintage illustration and see if it gives us a different style little girl. Yes, it does. This has still got the Scandi girl. Make it private. Okay. And then now we're going to go in and take the Scandi girl out, Scandi style out, and just the little girl and see what it gives us there. Because we're not directing at a specific style. See, totally different little look. Okay, now let's see what we can do using Artistly. We've got all of our, we've used the playbook and we've got lots of um, prompting tricks that we've used to get us where we are now. So let's use some of the features and play with some of the things that Artistly offers us, like mood. So if we want a cheerful mood, we're just going to put that in. And Artistly is going to revamp our prompt that we have. Now and it's going to make it cheerful. So it changed the color, it put a smile on the little girl's face and changed it up a little bit. Okay, let's go back in. Let's try it again with some of our other little features. Let's go to mood again, and instead let's do mysterious and see what that does. We have so many different ways now that we can adjust and we can play with our prompts. Now see, yeah, I mean, mysterious. I don't know if it's really mysterious, but it does change a little bit about the coloring and, that sort of thing. So, playing with those, and it does give you a little different look. So, use all of the tools in your toolbox. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to change the palette to vibrant. Now, I know we already did, we had put some of the coloring in different parts of our prompt before. So we can just see how we can quickly change different elements using okay, so it brightened it up. Now, I don't like all the stuff around it, and we're beginning to get, into an area where we may not really think that this is as cute. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to one of these and let's play with her. All right, so let's now change this one to vibrant and see what that does. So see, it did go in and it changed the look. Okay. You absolutely have more control when you make the changes using the playbook. But if you're learning and you want to experiment, and these are just some different ways you can do it because, for instance, it added all this and it moves things around in our original prompt. And you may not want that. You may want to have way more control. And that's where the playbook comes in. You have more control. You can go straight in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to here again. We're going to regenerate, but I'm going to use the magic wand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say change little girl to to wearing a polka dot pink dress and pink ballet slippers. Keep the style and keep the style the same as original prompt. And we'll just see. Sometimes it listens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes that will keep it from actually changing the. Okay, so, all right, so we got the little pink girl and we did still get and our other prompt was just the very top of her. I don't know that it really kept the style that much. It looks closer to these renditions. So let's just look at the prompt and see what it came up with. Let's do regenerate so we can get a good look at it. So, I'm going to try up something else that you can do. You can actually move the subject down a little bit, and sometimes that will make a difference as well. I'm going to move it here, and we're just going to leave everything else the same and see what it gives us now, moving the subject and putting some of the other priorities ahead of it and see what it does. Well, that definitely changed it up and changed the look of it. It probably wouldn't be anything I would really work with, and I would have to go in and then this little splotch, I'd have to word that out because it gave us that. But it can show you how different just moving things around will do. Now, the true art is when you find the perfect combination to get you the look that you want. So, I hope you've enjoyed this prompting workshop and you have a little better insight into all of the amazing things you can do with Artistly or any other AI that you choose to use, as far as creating and how you can take one simple prompt and you can literally just continue to create from it by changing the different elements using the playbook and combining them to create your own more original styles. You're basically training the AI the way you want it to do when you're adding all the different prompts and the not prompts, but all of the different phrases and the different words from the word bank. I always say that you can't ask AI to do something and get the effect you want if you don't know what it's called. So the AI playbook has a lot of that information, a lot of the styling where you can, from impressionist, watercolor, surrealism, minimalism, all those things, all of those words and phrases that are commonly used, and then also how to troubleshoot when you're not getting the results you want. Again, I'm not scripted, so everything you see is like process. If I were just sitting down to do a packet, this is the same thing I would do. A lot of people think that I just sit down and automatically I just spit out the perfect prompt and the perfect images are there. My image file is so full of junk because you start somewhere and then you keep on until you create what you're looking for. And yes, because I've done it so much, a lot of mine are, I come about it faster, but the more you do it, you'll develop your own style as well and your own way of prompting, where you put things to get because everybody is not looking for the same thing. Everybody might like mine for me, but not for them. They want a different little style or whatever. So cluing in and really, honestly, I have literally only touched a teeny tiny bit of what that prompt, the AI playbook. Oh my gosh, there's so much more I want to experiment with, and that, literally I could be designing for years and, from that book and never even do the same thing twice. Excuse me. But if you haven't already gotten yours, there's still a sale on. I'm not sure when that's going to go off. I may or may not. It may or may not get extended, but right now it's half off. So anyway, if you don't have Artistly and you're interested in a really good solution for getting in on, and learning, it's a great opportunity if you really think you want to do this to pay one price, have it forever. I mean, I paid back in fall of 2023, so it's more than paid for itself with what I've sold at clip art and all of my invitations I was able to do with my own art. So, it's an investment. It's if you have tax write-offs, it'd be tax write-off for your business, but it's not something that's recurring monthly. So once you've paid for it, it's yours, and then all of that is just, cool. It's ice cream with a cherry on top. So if you're interested, I do have an affiliate link down in the description, as well as a link to my AI artist playbook. If you're interested in that, be sure and subscribe if you haven't. Leave me a comment if you'd like to chime in. I have a group on Facebook. We'd love to have you as, if you're just even considering Artistly or you're considering potentially buying the playbook. I have a couple other videos on the playbook if you need to know more, or hey, send me a message or whatever if you have a specific question about it. It's not a huge expense right now at half price. It's like $12 and something. So it's not like it's going to break the bank. So, and as far as the playbook goes, so it's just a resource. But I do want to thank all of you who have already purchased, and encourage you to sign up for my group because we discuss all sorts of things, and you can get to see what other people, other creators like you are creating with Artistly and other prompting other AI software or platforms, and also how they're implementing the resource of the playbook. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll just see you later.